What's it like to fly a jet at one of the largest air shows in the world? Recently, I had the chance to find out when talking to Noble at the Royal International Air Tattoo. Noble is a pilot of TLG-74, that's Taktische Luftwaffengeschwader 74, of the Luftwaffe, and he is basically the unofficial display pilot for Germany. He flies the Eurofighter, or Typhoon if you're British. Air shows are not just a great place to see dramatic flight displays, but they also function as a way to show off piloting skills and the capabilities of fighter jets. In fact, during the Cold War, many technological leaps were shown off during public displays at one of the main shows, making these appearances as political as they are about entertainment. While displays always focus heavily on maneuverability, nowadays we once again see more and more displays with loaded stores to show the performance on the simulated combat loads. To find out more, Noble took us behind the scenes to talk about Eurofighter and his display, which you will get to see from the cockpit perspective. So we are here at Riyadh with Noble from TLG 74. Now TLG 74, first of all, who are you and what is TLG 74?
Of course, I'm Noble. I'm in the German Air Force, rank as a captain. The TLG 74 is our fighter wing.
Yeah.
We are stationed in Neuburg, so in southern Germany, Bavaria. And this is our plane. We're going to fly today at the Riyadh for, sadly, the last display.
Yeah, it's Sunday. It's Sunday, but you had a display on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Friday was glorious with the
Exactly.
Yeah,
perfect
sunny
weather.
sky. Exactly.
Yesterday we had the bad weather option.
Yeah.
Today looks not too bad.
Okay. So what's cloud level today?
Should be around like 5,000 feet.
Okay, so you can do some verticality as well. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Now, you have a Typhoon or Eurofighter for the Germans, of course, in the background. Which Eurofighter is this exactly?
It's one of the new ones actually.
Yeah.
It's Tranche 2.
Yeah.
And we got the latest software update there.
Okay.
So for us it's kind of a nice update because we got now the integration of air to ground, air to air. So nice mix out of it.
Nice. And you're stationed in Neuburg, which is in Bavaria. Now I heard that this is the smallest NATO Air Force base, is that correct?
It is, yeah. It is. It looks like an aircraft carrier. If you look from above, you got the shelters where the aircraft are in there.
Awesome.
We got the tower. Looks like a big aircraft carrier from outside.
And you do QRA there for Germany then?
Exactly, yeah. It's the QRA for the southern part of Germany, meaning we have 4 aircraft there, fully armed, normally 2 pilots there, just waiting for the alarm.
Okay. And do you have any sort of, this year, did you go to any sort of NATO exercises?
We do, yeah. Absolutely. So for 10 months we are in Lithuania for the air policing, so we're helping them out.
Okay.
Then in NATO they're asking, hey, can you guys help us out? And we do that now for 10 months. And besides that, we also went to the NATO Tiger Meet, as you can see with our jet in the background. A big exercise for us every year, which was in Germany this year. So.
And the NATO Tigers, who are those exactly?
It's a combined partnership between different wings, and everybody has like a kind of animal on the tail, you know. It's a tiger, it's a panther, whatever, and so we got a big combination of aircraft, and we are flying together, fighting together, and obviously also having some social events.
Awesome, awesome. Now let's talk a little bit more about the Eurofighter as we're doing the walkaround for your pre-flight check. What would you do first of all as you're going to approach the aircraft?
First of all, checking the aircraft out. So is it in a good condition? I mean, I rely on my maintenance 100%. Nevertheless, for us pilots, it's a thing we like to do prior to our flight, to just do a little check around if everything is okay. And we're starting at the nose. We got the captor radar in there.
Outside here.
Absolutely. We got the captor radar in there, which is really nice for us because we got the displays in the cockpit where we can do the targeting for air-to-air.
And the radar also does air-to-ground?
Not
this one, but that's going to be the AESA?
It's going to be in the future, yeah.
And that would be with the AESA radar coming with tranche 3 and 4.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What I'm checking out next is the ADTs, meaning this is where I get my information from, meaning my airspeed, my altitude, all the good stuff. So all the information are going in those 4 little ADTs and showing me, after processing by many computers, what I need as information in the cockpit.
Okay. Now the next thing I see are these wing-looking devices, the canards. What do they do?
They are stabilizing the aircraft in the air, and of course they are the control surfaces when I'm flying the display or flying any sortie. They stabilize. In the air you can see they're just doing little movements at high speeds. It looks really fancy. If you look outside the cockpit, if you got 2 seconds in the air, they can relax and just check out those things, and they are all managed by the computer, meaning I do the inputs and those guys are managing via their flight control system the stabilization in the air.
That's because Typhoon is relaxed stability, right? And I mean, how is it now for you as a pilot? Because we think always the pilot has to manage everything in terms of flying. How is that with Eurofighter then?
Quite easy. So as you can see, it's a single-seater, meaning we are alone in the cockpit. We have to manage a lot of data which is coming in, share and distribute the information to the other guys in the formation. So it must be easy for us to fly, and it really is with a flight control system.
Okay, fantastic. Now as we move further, then we have the intakes for the engine. Exactly. Which engine do you have then?
We got 2 engines in there. EJ200 they are called, made by NTU in close to Munich. Maximum thrust, what I will use today is 2 times 90 kilonewton in the afterburner, so there's a lot of power coming out of there. And I will check the intakes now, just to see if something is in there. Next thing I'm gonna check is the tire. If you got anything down there, tire looks good, and looking at the wheel bay, which is also good, so I'm checking out if there are any hydraulic fluids in there, if the doors are latched, and looks fine. Okay, good. And we can continue. We have these mounting points here. What are those? Absolutely. We got those mounting points for the AMRAAMs and the Meteors, meaning on the fuselage itself we can store 4 long-range missiles, medium-range missiles, and on the outside you see later on the launches for the short-range missiles, the IRIS-T in our case. And then on the wing, do you have maneuvering flaps on them? Exactly, also managed by the flight control system, so I don't have to put any switches, trims, whatever. The only thing I have to manage is the landing gear prior to the landing. And then everything is done automatically by the aircraft, depending on airspeed, your position? Exactly. Okay, cool. Super easy. So I'm going to walk down there. Yeah, absolutely. Checking out the tire again for the main wheels. Got a brake indicator down there, brake looks good as well. And then in the bay, looking for loose parts, looking for hydraulic, everything looks fine. Landing light is good. Landing light as well. Exactly. Yeah. And I saw these little holes in that little pylon there. What are those? Here we go. Those are the flares. Okay. They help us to protect ourselves. If we have incoming missile, short-range missiles, we can pop those flares and survive, hopefully. Yeah. Are those the IR missiles? Yeah. Exactly. And are those pyrotechnic charges, or are those like metal strip bundles? No, this is the pyro. I will show you the other thing. Yeah. This is called the chaff. Yeah. First of all, here we got the launcher for the IRIS-T. Yeah. One on each side. And what is this fairing then here? Also a system for us to survive, meaning we have the DAS system in there. Yeah. Defensive 8 subsystem. Okay. As well as you can see here on the back. Yeah. There's those little 2 things where we can put out a device which is on a cable to help to survive. So that's like a towed decoy. Exactly. Okay, so that's what it is. And does it create like a secondary position of where the aircraft is? Exactly, and the missile doesn't know where to go and goes off. Here we go. Okay, cool. Yep. This is the chaff launcher we were talking about. Yeah, now it's fully to the back side. Normally we get our stuff in there, and we got a lot of applications to get those little metal stripes into the air and distract the other radar. Yeah. So that's against radar homing missiles, and the other one was against IR homing missiles. Okay. Then the controls here, I mean, you don't have ailerons, you have ailerons? Exactly, yeah. And they're moving again with the FCS, so everything I do as an input is transferred to the computers. Yeah. They manage me or manage the aircraft, and then I can do whatever I want as an input. Okay. So. Awesome. And then as we come towards the tail, we obviously have the variable outlet, and those change depending on how much thrust you give on the engine, yeah? Here we go. So if I'm going for max reheat, they're closing, so we get more thrust out of there. You see those little ignitions or igniters are around there. And as you can see, it's little engines. They're really, really small, but nevertheless, they're super powerful.
Yeah, it's like 40,000 pounds of thrust in pounds, yeah.
Yeah. What we got here, you see the red flag?
Yes.
This is our drag shield.
I've never seen that used on a Eurofighter.
Oh, I actually did a bunch of times because if you go to a short runway, you're using this for safety reasons.
Of course.
If you jump down here, you can see the hook.
Oh, you have one of those
hook.
as well? Yeah.
It's not hydraulically operated, meaning for us it's just for emergencies.
Okay.
So if you want to go into the cable, get the hook down, and then the aircraft is gone for a while because they have to recheck all the systems. If you have any damage on the engines or engine base, and this is an emergency hook, no hydraulic hook to use on the carrier.
Yeah. Mechanical release, and that's it.
There we go. Yeah.
And what is this little fairing there?
Also part of the defensive system.
Okay.
Antenna for it.
And on the tail, do you have any antennas for communications, or is that just?
No, the communications are on the fuselage. Meaning one is on the upper side, one is on the lower side. We can do the communication. So.
Okay.
Not for us. What we got here, you see probably a little bit bad, but nevertheless we got the light stripes.
Yes.
For night flying, meaning they are green lighted, so it's comfortable for the eyes.
Yeah.
And also for the NVG, so we can manage the distance to the other aircraft in the night flying ups.
Yeah. And those are not just there, but also on other areas of the aircraft.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see on the front, right next to the tail number.
Yeah.
There's this little stripe here.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Yeah.
Now here the dust looks a little bit different.
Exactly. We don't have the tow decoys.
Yeah. It's an air show.
Same. It's working in the same direction as the other side, meaning we can use it with us and use it as a decoy for the other guys.
Okay. And I guess this is the cooling intake for the whole
exactly
system, And then, I mean, as we're going to the port wing then, how much fuel do you have in the aircraft?
At this point I got about 4.8 tons for the display, meaning we have a clean configuration of what we can do, as well as get up to 3 external tanks down there. Other configurations are that we're using a laser designator pod, which would be in the middle, where we get a third tank in case of. Then we can get GBU-48 bombs, we can get AMRAAMs meteors, as we have spoken before, we can get the IRIS-T on there, so it's a bunch of loadout we can get on this little aircraft.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
Quite small.
Well, the ram air turbine there, what's that for?
It's a cooling system, actually.
Cooling system, yeah.
You can see it up here.
Yeah.
And there's a second one, if you go to the main engine bay, there's the second one. So cooling the oil, cooling the fuel, internal systems. And another cool thing is what you see up there.
Is that the APU?
That's the APU, exactly.
Okay.
We got a little latch down there, which is going to open when I'm turning the APU on. Closes automatically, and then we are good to go with power to power up the engines.
Okay, and the APU is always used to power up the engines before, because you do it on board of the aircraft and not with ground
We can do
power.
external as well.
Okay, yeah.
Nevertheless, we are always trying to get the APU.
Okay. So as we then come towards the cockpit, on your final check, I mean, I can see a couple of hatches here. Do you check these yourself, or is that also your ground crew?
That is the ground crew.
Yeah.
This panel is for the ground crew, as well as this one. Checking the maintenance data if the system is working correct. Here we got the hose for the refueling, so meaning pressure refueling. And this little device here is going to be used when we want to get rid of the cockpit from the ground.
Okay, so if
unconsciousness in the cockpit, so they can fire up the canopy, and the canopy blows away.
And can the ground maintainers, when they want to check the aircraft in the system, can they also hook in their computers and like download information and check everything from their systems?
Yeah, exactly. They can get really every data.
Awesome.
So they will see what I'm doing today in the display. They see all the cheese I'm going to experience. We see how that goes, what the record is going to be for today.
Awesome. Well, I wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to the display.
Same.
And now I'll let you get into your little machine.
Sweet. See you later.
See ya. Take care.
While Noble is going through his final preparations, a big thank you to him and TLG74 for hosting us and providing the additional commentary to the upcoming display. A big thank you also to all channel supporters for making videos such as this one 100% community funded. For more information on how to support and what you get out of it, check out the links in the description. And now it's time for a display.
So at the moment we're sitting at a cockpit. I'm just doing my final checks. So if my ejection seat is hot and chopping already the power in, so going to max reheat. What we feel now is acceleration, of course, with 2 times 90 kilonewtons, so it's a lot of power coming out of there. And I'm going to accelerate to about 400 to 450 knots. And at the end of the runway, when I'm parallel to the display line, meaning there's always a safe line, let's call it this way, I'm just going to pull up what you see at the moment in the video, which is about a 5 to 6 G's pull up. And then in the next second, I'm going to spiral up just to show the massive power of the Typhoon, that it can climb vertical. Over the top, I'm facing down again, concentrating myself on the display line, meaning where is the line where I'm going to be in respect to the spectators and to the audience. And on the way down, you can see again there's another 4 to 5 G pull turn, and setting myself up for the first aileron roll, which is now. And then after each maneuver, there's gonna be a reposition maneuver, what you can see now, meaning at this point, I'm going to bring myself back to the display line, meaning that I'm always parallel to the runway or the display line in this case, to be close to the spectators, but always have a safety line. Right now, we're going to accelerate again, and going for the next vertical maneuver is going to be a Cuban 8, so 2 loopings with a roll in between. What you can see now, here we pull the max G's, so getting the stick full backwards. And at this point, we have about 500 knots for the in of the Cuban 8, and then for the pull-up, it's 9 G's. On the way down, you can see the roll, and then going down to 500 feet again for the altitude, and getting the next pull-up with some nice vapor trails here. Next pull-up is about 7 to 8 G's, and then setting myself up for the way down. On the way down, you can see obviously not the degrees, but in the cockpit it was about 70 degrees nose low, so quite impressive. And then also for the pull out again, to be level at 500 feet, it's another 6 to 7 G's, I would say. What we can see next is another repo maneuver, coming back to the display line, getting some speed again. And for the next maneuver, we got a 90-degree turn away from the spectators so they can see the afterburners lit. Just waiting here a second, get some speed. Looking where the point is, the center point, and here we go, 9 G's. You can see it in the eyes, so eyes are really dripping down. 9 G's away, 90 degrees, and then pull up vertical again in respect to the display line. Over the top, we reach about 3,500 feet AGL. So that's quite a good number for the Typhoon to always have a safe distance to the ground, and which also is my gap, meaning I'm working with gaps, looking for a specific altitude where I know I can pull through and not hitting the ground, obviously. So for the display, I've done it now the 3rd year, meaning my body already knows what's gonna happen next. Meaning if I'm going to scratch the corner, going 90 degrees off with 9 G's, my body already knows, okay, it's coming up, G's are coming up. So the G suit itself is working a lot, meaning always if I'm hitting the stick for positive G's, it's going to inflate. Nevertheless, also my body and also my brain needs to be on that point to be sharp, and then work against the G's. It's not that complicated after 3 years because the body already knows. Nevertheless, you always have to be 100% for sure what is coming up next, and then work against the G's because they work against you, meaning the blood will flow down. On the other side, the G suit is going to pump up the blood again, so you always have a clear mind and can build up your mind or a mindset for the next maneuver already.
So how does it feel after you finished your display?
It's like a 10-minute sport program. So you're getting out of the cockpit, you're sweaty, of course. Normally it's during the summertime, so when the AC is shut down, it's getting really, really warm in the cockpit, meaning we have about 40-50 degrees Celsius in there if you stay quite a while on the ramp. And then when you get out of the cockpit, the first thing you have to do is drink something, because it was just 10 minutes of high-intensity sport program. Let's call it this way.
Yeah.
So what we got up next is Going back to the display line, as you can see already, I'm slowing down. What we got next is the slow flight. Something special about the Typhoon, it has a system in there which says at a certain point that the aircraft is going to recover itself, because it says the pilot isn't in control anymore, so it takes over, and at this point you're just a passenger in the cockpit, meaning you cannot override the system, and that is the reason why we have to fly a certain speed for the slow pass. It's about 120, 130 knots at this point, what you can see here. So close to the ground at low speeds, you have to be fully concentrated at this maneuver, because otherwise the system will take over. That is also the reason for us why we're taking 1000 feet here, not 500 feet, because when the system is taking over, it just bumps the nose, and then you're so close to the ground. So that's the reason for the 1000 feet. What we have next, I'm plugging the power again for the max reheat and going for a vertical climb, so you can see as a spectator from the ground what the two EG 200 engines can obviously perform. There's a lot of power in there, so we can climb out vertical. Coming back to the ground, setting myself up for 500 feet, and then going for the next reposition maneuver to come back to the display line. Here we go, right around the corner again. We got about 7 Gs at this point. Speeding up again, and what we can see next is a flat Cuban 8, meaning in 500 feet, and on the next corner you can see, here we go, 9 Gs all the way, and I think you can see it pretty clear through the visor in the eyes that there's a lot of pressure on the body and as well on the system. So going back to the display line, not scratching it, and then putting another 7 to 8 Gs back to the line, just to show how the Eurofighter can perform in low altitude with that power. So here we go for the next lineup, using 1000 feet again for a slow aileron roll, meaning at about 300 knots I'm just getting my nose a little bit up, because the longitudinal axis of the Typhoon is slightly different to other aircraft, and then rolling through the aileron roll, and coming back for the next reposition maneuver, and then we're going into the last maneuver. So already on our way in here, we are at 500 feet. Looking for 500 knots now, and what you can see up next is the vertical climb up with a spiral, and then coming back for the landing. Here we go, just sending out greetings to the spectators, and then here you can see the vertical climb up. At this point we are about at 3 kilometers altitude, 10,000 feet, setting myself up for the way down, using the same as for the way up, just spiraling down, having a little bit of fun there, and then checking out the altitude where I have to recover to be at a safe altitude again for my landing. Here we go, last maneuver complete, so now back to normal business. Getting the clearance for the landing, setting myself up for the landing. The only thing we have to do in Typhoon is really easy. We have to put our landing gear down, so we don't have to use any flaps, slats, whatever. So no trim, everything is done automatically by the aircraft, and then coming back home for a safe landing. Landing speed is about 160 knots at this point, and then quite easy to land on a Typhoon. Here we go, as you can see, big runway at Riyadh, so quite easy, and then using our brakes for the full stop. Riyadh has a big runway, so we don't have to use the brake chute, so it's way of room to stop the aircraft on the runway. And that was it. It was a 9 to 10 minutes powerful demonstration, I think. A lot of vertical stuff. a lot of stuff close to the spectators because the display is based to a little field in Switzerland where you have the mountains on each side, so you have to be close. You have to give the respect to the mountains because obviously the mountains never forgive. And that is the reason why our German display is so close to the spectators and has a lot of vertical maneuvers in there.
So Noble, congratulations. Last display here at Riyadh. It's as if when you took off, the clouds parted and gave you blue sky right over the airfield.
Exactly how I love it.
Yeah.
Really, it was a nice whole upside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did this differ then from yesterday? Because yesterday you did a flat display.
Exactly, because the ceiling was lower.
Yeah.
It was about at 1700, 1800 feet.
Yeah.
So you can only do flat maneuvers.
Yeah.
The cool thing is you have a nice background for the photographers.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the fun is way bigger at a big display if you fly it. Like
Yeah.
a little bit cloudy skies today.
Yeah. We saw you cloud surfing a little bit, going in and out. That was very nice. Yeah, yeah.
That was so much fun today.
How is it for you then as a pilot? I mean, for the G-forces. So you're going to up to which G-forces are you going?
+9.
+9. Okay.
Yes, I have to work against it.
Yeah.
But I guess I have enough experience that my body already knows, okay, now the next corner is coming up with G's. He's just doing his thing actually.
Okay. It's just your job. That's a Portuguese Swiss for anybody who's wondering. But how is it then as you go into these G maneuvers to recuperate? Because you do give your body a bit of rest between the maneuvers.
Exactly, that's what you see when I'm doing the repositions along the runway. There is no high G forces, so I have a break for about 5 seconds. Yeah. And then the next maneuver is coming up, so I have to be fit again. Yep.
And as you put the display together, what is your thinking behind it? Because you show a slow pass, you high pass, maneuvers, rollings.
High maneuvers, high speed passes, slow maneuvers, then what you probably see after the slow flight, the vertical maneuvering, the climbing, which is typical for the Eurofighter because we have a lot of power, so you can go from really low speeds to a vertical climb, and that's what the engines do. They are perfect for it,
So it's also not just to give a good show, but also to show off what the aircraft can actually do in a situation where you have to use that power.
Actually, it's a mix out of two things, what the aircraft can do and what the body of the human can do, because there are a lot of forces for both of us in this moment.
Well, this was excellent. I hope that the people also get to see you once in real life. And I'm sure the people here at Riyadh appreciated the show. Thanks again.
Enjoy the show. Thanks a lot.
If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. Perhaps I can even pass them on to Noble, so feel free to ask anything, and who knows, in the future there may be a follow-up. For now, thanks for watching and the support. Have a great day and see you in the sky.